Hello and welcome to Shannon Gardens. Thank you guys so much for joining me. So as we are in the throes of winter, I tend to change my focus more toward my indoor plants and taking care of them, and also checking out what some of the local nurseries have in stock. So I thought I'd go to my local Lowe's today and just check out their indoor plants and what they have in stock, and wanted to bring you guys along with me and share what I find, as well as sharing some additional information about some of the plants that we run across. All right, you guys, so with that, let's get to it. The first plant that I came across were bromeliads, and they came in several different containers as well as hanging planters that I'll show to you guys in just one moment. Now, there were several different color variations of the bromeliads that you could choose from, and all the containers that I saw were marked at $18.98. Now, just look at this hanging planter. This was by far my favorite. I just thought it was so unique and pretty. Now, these plants prefer bright indirect light and are noted to be low maintenance houseplants. They have phalaenopsis, which are the easiest orchids to grow in my opinion. I love these plants and have several of them in my home, and have a video detailing a bit about them and their care that I'll link in the description if you care to learn more about them. There's pre-planted bonsai for $12.98, as well as lucky bamboo that's pre-planted and priced at $7.98 and $22.98 depending on the size you're looking at. Next is the Majesty Palm, which was on sale at the time at 2 for $30 for a nearly 2-gallon size. It's noted for bright indirect light. Now, I haven't had Majesty Palms myself, but have heard that they can be a bit temperamental of a plant, so that's something to keep in mind if you're looking at caring for one. Next, we have the Philodendron Golden Crocodile, which is priced at $19.98. Now, this is noted to do best in medium to bright light and has these really neat wavy leaves that start out having a bronze tint before turning the bright golden chartreuse color here as they age. This plant is also noted as a low maintenance plant. Now, this next plant is so pretty and unique to me with its dark green leaves with parts of white. The name is White Night Philodendron and is noted to prefer filtered indirect bright light and is priced at $19.98. The Moonlight Scindapsus is a slow-growing vining plant with thicker leaves that prefer medium to bright light, but it's said that it can tolerate lower light as well, although it may not grow in as lush and full. Now, this is a plant that I really liked. It's called the Silver Streaked Pothos, and it's a trailing plant with a really pretty silvery streaked narrow leaf. This is a plant that prefers medium to bright light. Like the Moonlight Scindapsus, it's noted to be able to tolerate lower light but may not grow in as full. Next, we have the Alocasia calidora, also known as upright elephant ear, and it's a tropical plant that features large heart-shaped leaves. Here I'm showing my hands just for size comparison. These are pre-planted and priced at $27.98. Monstra, which is also known as the Swiss cheese plant, and you can see why here with the heart-shaped leaves that develop splits as they mature. This is a plant that prefers bright indirect light and is noted to be easy to care for. It is priced at $29.98 pre-planted. Dracaena mascane is priced at $22.98 for a 1 3/4 gallon container. These are also known as corn plant and are noted for their lush foliage that sits on top of sturdy, upright canes. Calathea have these lovely variegated leaves with unique undersides in this reddish coloration. Now, unlike several of the plants I'll show today, these are good for filtered lower light areas as they naturally grow beneath a canopy of trees in their natural setting. A cool thing that I read about these plants is that the leaves may fold up a bit at night and then reopen during the day, which helps them maximize their sun absorption. Now, this Monstra is offered in a cute pot with this snowflake design. They prefer medium to bright indirect light. Too low of light may actually cause their leaves not to split, so that's something to keep in mind when you're placing this plant in your home. The Apobalus prefers medium indirect light. This plant has almost a gray-green background with darker green splotches throughout the leaves and then a purple underside. They also come in cute snowflake design pots like the Monstra just mentioned. Anthurium have these cool wavy leaves and can bloom for long periods of time. These plants are noted to prefer bright indirect light, and they come pre-planted in these pretty pots for $24.98. Okay, so while this next plant is just labeled as a fern, it's actually a bird's nest fern, which is known as one of the easier ferns to care for. They prefer medium indirect light or partial shade in a more humid environment. Now you can see the little bird's nest that it refers to here in the middle of the leaves. I have owned one of these ferns before, and while it was a little temperamental, I did find it easier than some of the other ferns I've tried to care for in the past. Next up, we have Sansevieria, which is known as snake plant or mother-in-law tongue, which isn't the nicest nickname for it, but nonetheless. Now, I have one of these and it's extremely easy to care for. These are noted for medium to bright indirect light. However, I have mine in low to medium and it does really well. It's also noted as one of the best houseplants for improving air quality and is extremely hardy. They have these contemporary self-watering containers in a variety of colors for $14.98, and these are pre-planted with a couple of different varieties of philodendron and then this really pretty syngonium noted for medium to bright indirect light. The leaves are really pretty with the pink color and green underneath, and it pairs really nicely with the container. They also have Sansevieria again with the variegated leaves in this container option as well. The Neanthe Bella palm is noted for medium to bright indirect light and is priced at $24.98. It has very pretty, delicate leaves and is noted as a plant that does well indoors and is easy to maintain. They have glass water misters for $10.98 in a variety of colors. Now, I like to use these really more for my terrariums and then for watering some of my succulents to make sure that I don't overwater them. Next, I noticed these Wick and Grow plants in containers. The 4-inch containers are priced at $5.98. They have a big variety of plants noted as part of the Wick and Grow collection, although you could use your own pots to plant these in as well. While I don't have any Wick and Grow specifically, you can see the wick hanging from the bottom of the plant, which is said to draw water to the plant when planted in the Wick and Grow containers. Another thing to notice with the Costa Farms plants is that some are noted on the tag to be ideal for terrariums if that's something that you're interested in planting. I do have a video on terrarium planting that I'll link in the description and at the end of this video if you'd like to learn more. They have a variety of plants like the Rex begonia for $5.98 with the lovely combination of gray-green leaves and plum-colored leaves, the banana croton, which has the beautifully bright yellow and green leaves. They have tree ivy, Florida beautified dracaena, which I loved with the bright yellow, almost paint splattered looking leaves. They also have berry illusion arrowhead plant that has the bright green leaves with pink colored veins running through. There's the Galaxy False Aurelia with these really neat serrated leaves. There's Wonderful Ivy, which I didn't think was the most unique name, but did think it was very pretty with the outer edges and the very light yellowish green, and then the inside of the leaf in the medium green. Then there's the Spearpoint Ivy, which was rated for medium light and has thinner leaves than the Wonderful Ivy. Finally, there's the Dragon's Tongue, which I thought had a really nice texture and look to it, and I may be adding this one to my indoor plant collection. All right, you guys, I absolutely love these copper hanging pots. This one contains the bird's nest fern, which, as I mentioned earlier, is noted as one of the easiest ferns to own. They also have Marantas planted in the hanging pots, which have these beautiful variegated leaves and are interestingly known as prayer plants because of their tendency to droop or pray at night. They have pre-planted Aglaonema, which is $15.98. This is a plant that I enjoy having myself and find quite easy to care for. What I love about these plants is the leaf color with the red on the outside edges and the variegated green colors in the middle. I do keep mine in medium indirect light and in a bathroom so it gets the humidity it prefers, and it does quite well in that environment. They also have Aglaonema without the red coloration, which is lovely as well, but I still prefer the splash of red in the other variety myself. They also have the Sansevieria or snake plants that we discussed before in the same type pots, as well as the Calathea with the beautiful variegated leaves and plum-colored undersides. I really like the look of our next plant and how it's potted. This is the Zamioculcas with moss planted underneath, and it's also known as the ZZ plant, which is way easier to pronounce. I own the ZZ plant and actually the ZZ Raven variety. I found this to be a wonderful plant to own and extremely easy to care for. It has an upright growth habit and is noted to be able to grow in just about any kind of environment. They also have this pretty little ficus planted in a similar pot that's marked at $18.98. I have these containers with geometric prints for $22.98 to $32.98. The one I'm showing here is the bird's nest fern, and you can get a better look at the little nest the name refers to in the middle. I think that the leaves look like little hands, and they're just so different than a lot of plants you come across. I thought this setup was really neat with the ficus tree in the middle and then moss and rocks underneath. And it just points out that you can even get inspired when you're going to these different landscape places and get ideas for maybe how to set up your own pots at home, even if you aren't buying one from the store. This next plant is one that I saw a couple of years ago when visiting the Atlanta Botanical Garden and absolutely fell in love. This plant is the polka dot begonia, and just look at how neat these polka dotted leaves are. The underside has this pretty reddish orange color, and these are pre-planted and marked at 1998. This fiddle-leaf ficus was an unexpected find and priced at $15.98. I was particularly drawn to the color of the new growth at the top with the backdrop of the darker leaves underneath and thought that was very eye-catching. They had a lot of different succulents here, but I had difficulty figuring out how they were laid out and the price, so I thought I'd just give a brief look at what I came across as I was walking through the nursery area. There are a lot to choose from, and I particularly love the bright colored flowers on the cactus toward the end here. They also have peperomia, which I have planted myself and found it relatively easy to care for. Not quite as easy perhaps as the snake plant or ZZ plant, but it's still pretty easy. These plants are drought tolerant and prefer medium to bright indirect light. Now, these have to be the coolest succulent planters I found here. They have different succulents planted in both these dark gray pots and then cream colored pots, and they're marked at $9.98 each, and I just thought they were really nice looking. They did also have some larger floor plants like this 6.5 gallon Ficus lyrata for $120, and then a 3 3/4 gallon, what was marked as just a foliage plant, but it looks like a palm to me, for $49.98, and then a 1 3/4 gallon Marganata bush for $22.98. Thank you guys so much for coming with me. I always love going to my local nurseries and checking out what they've got in stock and love bringing you guys along for those visits as well. So thank you so much again. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so that you can be notified each time I upload a new video. All right, you guys, until next time, happy gardening and goodbye.